mask every time you go any place. And then all the restaurants were serving like outside.
Outside,
And
okay.
the way you do it is they have a QR code. And so when you sit down, you do the QR code or you call, they bring the food with everything that is like plastic and so forth, and then you serve yourself. So there is not somebody serving you. So they are trying to minimize the amount of contact with, yeah. So that was interesting,
Yeah.
First time I, say QR code, then I tell
Yeah.
them what I want, then they bring it, and you just, everything is plastic or paper, and then you just throw it away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that was.
Where is this at, Rosie? I'm sorry.
It's called Solvang. Solvang. And it's like a Holland kind of town. It's like 2.5 hours from here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up above the 101 freeway, right?
Yeah,
As you're going into Ventura.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, so that was good to get away.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good,
I heard
guys.
that you were frozen for a while.
Oh, was I? I don't know what happened. I got disconnected. And then all of a sudden the computer just kind of shut down and then rebooted again. So I apologize. So was I on a frozen frame?
Yeah, I heard.
Oh,
for
gosh.
posterity.
Right.
Hey, Simon, before we get started, I have one quick question.
Yes, sir.
So I saw open house signs this weekend. We're still not able to do an actual open house, correct?
That is correct. Based on my knowledge as of right now that we are speaking, yes, that is correct. No open houses. Now, what I'm hearing that's happening is agents are having appointments. And the open house signs that you see are basically directionals, like in the past, to guide the appointments that they have already set for the day. So agents are doing increments of 30-minute sessions, starting at 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and they're setting these increment timeframes for the purpose of showing the home.
Yeah, so I showed a house this weekend, and luckily I had my computer with me. A couple walked up. I was locking up, and I called the agent. I said, hey, people are showing up. And he said, well, next people are supposed to come through at 3. I said, they're not here yet. I quickly did the PEAD form for them, sent it to the agent, got them in the house before the next people came, which was awesome. So
good job.
That's awesome, Jeremy. Good job on that. But, just to address and answer your questions, no, we are still not allowed to do open houses. So I can't wait. I can't wait to get open houses going. It's because most of us love to do open houses, and we see a book of business just from open houses. So I'm hoping that sometime this month in July, as things start opening up more and more, that the California Association of Realtors implements the rules to allow us to continue doing open house. Obviously, it'll be, with a safe practice, social distance, mask, and all that stuff like we're already doing, but allow an open house like I've seen, like especially like in Norwalk, city of Downey. They set these time frames, but there's a line on the sidewalk waiting to come in, just like we see at a restaurant, like we see at at Costco, Sam's Club, where they only limit so many people at a time. Now, what's interesting is what's going to happen 4 or 5 months from now, meaning, if the increase of coronavirus affects more and more people and someone files a claim because of a showing, it's going to be pretty interesting to find out how the outcome is on those type of.
Hello?
I think we lost.
Simon have some computer issues, I guess.
Hmm.
Right. Houston, we have a problem.
Well, so Al, do you want to lead the way, or who is doing it this week?
Yeah.
Al is the moderator.
One of the open houses I saw this weekend, on the open house sign said call, and there was this agent's cell number to make an appointment. And so on every sign he had, call his cell phone. You could call him, and if it was open, he'd say, come on in. If not, then he could schedule. Here, you're back.
I don't know what's going on. And we have a sales meeting today at noon, so I might have to switch locations. I apologize, guys. I'm sorry, you were saying?
I was just telling Jeremy, one of the open houses I saw this weekend and the last weekend, each sign had the agent's cell number, and you could call him. And if it was available to see immediately, he'd let you in. And if not, then he'd schedule you at a given time.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back, and I hope I don't get disconnected. It's going to be interesting in the next few months what transpires over this. I don't know. It's gonna be something that we're all looking for. I know all brokers that run large offices are in communications with their attorneys, to make sure that we're all in compliance, but more so the aftermath. What's going to happen if someone claims that they got the virus, from a showing or an open house. And this is why it's very important that we get those forms signed, the PEP form, because now we have some layer of protection that says, listen, we gave this form to the consumer, and they signed and acknowledged and understood their position. And therefore, that'll give us some sense of relief if they ever try to claim, that they contracted the coronavirus due to a property. So it's going to be interesting. As soon as the broker and myself find out, believe me, we're going to pass that information to you guys as well. So, all right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. It is July 1st, 4th of July week. So I'm super excited. I'm going to be leaving out of town tomorrow afternoon. I'm overdue.
Where are you going?
I'm just going to Las Vegas. So,
all right.
Yeah, so I'm going to be heading out there. I was contemplating, we were thinking of going out to Laughlin out in Bullhead City, but then the group of people that is going, they said, no, let's go to Vegas. And the rates are pretty reasonable. Now the flights are expensive. I can tell you that. The flights are very expensive just to go to Vegas. So, but I'm looking forward to that. So, anyone doing anything special, leaving out of town this week?
I'm going to have a Zoom wedding.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
The first one. My stepdaughter, she's getting married, so we're going to have like 60 people on that Zoom wedding.
That's awesome.
Nice.
And it's going to be on Saturday on 4th of July?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
That's
that will
pretty
be
cool.
exciting. That will be exciting, something different. Yeah.
Yeah. A Zoom wedding. Yeah, that is pretty interesting.
That's pretty
Awesome.
cheap. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be less expensive for them. They were planning to have it in Hawaii, but they had to cancel. So they said, well, this will be the best thing that they can do,
Absolutely. Awesome, guys. Well, again, guys, thank you so much for being on the call. I admire that the core of the group, is participating. I was talking to Michelle Brown this morning, and she was jumping on that flight back east, to be at her ranch with her husband to celebrate 4th of July. So, she wished all of us well. And she also said, wish everyone a good 4th of July. So to the core of the group. All right. So I think, Al, I think you were going to spearhead this.
Yeah. All right. So we got chapters 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And I love the way that this book's, I'm listening to it on Audible, and the way I'm hearing it, it's like me and Mo having a cup of coffee, and she's just kind of telling her story, which is real refreshing, and you kind of get a feel for her and what she's been through. So in chapter 3, I think the lesson they outlined was be thankful for your foundation. So it kind of starts with her parents and her upbringing, and
Right.
who they were, what they taught her. And she mentions where she grew up. She didn't see or realize any of the lessons. She was just living the moment. But it's not until she grew up and got older, and I think we all can attest to this, we start to understand and appreciate our parents, the lessons that they were trying to teach us. But when we're younger, we think we know everything.
Right.
And so that kind of hit hard, with me. It's like the older we get, the more we realize and appreciate the lessons our parents were trying to teach us, and some of our friends too, for that matter.
Right.
So just be open to that.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing, if you don't mind me adding to that, you said something that made me think. I'm first generation. My parents came from Mexico. Father from Colima, my mom from Michoacan. But ironically, my father came to the U.S. at the age of 14 before meeting my mother. And at the age of 14, leaving your home country to go to another country is bizarre to me, literally. I mean, think of all that we have. This is the reason I humble myself, and I was talking to my father yesterday, and I'm so grateful to have both my parents still, but the conversation that I've had in the past with my father, that at the age of 14 he wanted more in life. He knew that coming to the U.S. would give him opportunities, to help his family. Now, let's touch on that a little bit, and really think how a 14-year-old kid, and yeah, it's a kid, a teenager, would have the mindset to think, one, I'm going to leave home. I'm going to a foreign country that I don't even speak the language. I'm going to travel thousands of miles. I don't have family out here in the U.S., and I'm going to work so I can provide my family. And his family was his parents and his siblings. My father is the second oldest. My aunt is the oldest of 7. One has already passed away back in '94, but there was 8. I apologize. There was 8, so now there's 7 aunts and uncles. My father was the second oldest of the clan. And to think that at the age of 14 to come to America to strive, to work, and to bring money back home. My grandfather was an alcoholic, and my father, unfortunately, when he was growing up, was forced to go and find my uncle at all these local bars. And he didn't like that, because my grandfather was a very strong but very abusive, and if you know the Mexican culture, we used to get our butts kicked. I know I used to. That was how we got disciplined, unfortunately. That was how they knew how to control. Now, everything is political correct. You got to be very careful. But for some of us, the era growing up, that's how we got disciplined. I mean, I got my my booty whipped many, many times. You know, I got shoes thrown at me. You know, I can tell you all the abuse that I got as a kid. I can laugh about it, but at the time it was not fun, you know, but that was just the culture of what I had to deal with. Now going back and you know, thank you, Al, for bringing this up, because this is an important component to Mo Anderson, is that, you know, who would ever think to let our own children leave the country and do what my father did as an example, you know? You know, Mexico is considered a third world country, and, you know, poverty is very low. So that was the reason a lot of people from Mexico, Central America, and South America, and throughout the world come to the US because they believe in the American dream, the freedom to do what we can do here, you know, open up businesses, run successful companies, and have the freedom to vote and so many different things. So, yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting how Mo Anderson, you know, a country girl, you know, was able to become such a successful and eventually the CEO of this company. But I just wanted to share that, you know, from my personal humble experiences from my father's standpoint, where, you know, you just kind of realize, like, my God, who in the heck would leave at the age of 14? But that was what he needed to do, because they were very poor, and my father doesn't have a good education. I think he did maybe 6 years of school, up to a 6th grade or 5th grade or something like that. But, you know, my father is one of the smartest men that I know. Even though he doesn't have really good education, he was able to speak the language. He was able to work, provide for his family, and do all the necessary things to build that foundation for him, you know, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's my story.
And that's who made you who you are. He instilled these strong work ethics, no lack of fear, just live life. Forget about failure. He wasn't going to fail. If he failed, he got back up and he'd just keep going. And I think that's instilled in you. I mean, look how many careers you've already had.
Yeah.
And you know, you continue. And it's
Absolutely.
just like what Mo said too. Yeah, with her dad. Hardworking, you know, probably not college educated by all means, but just never gave up, and she always saw the positive side of it. You know, if it was hard at that time, she didn't dwell on, oh, this is terrible me and why me. It is what it is, and we'll push through like a family unit. We'll stick together and help each other out and appreciate the love and respect we have for each other. So I love that, you know, this part of the book, how she kind of told her foundation, just like your foundation with your dad and your parents, you know.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. Anyone else like to share their story?
I'll do a quick one.
Thank you, Nicole. Good morning.
Good morning. I'll do a quick one, especially because my parents are gone. So it's just really, it heightened everything to me. Not that, you know, my parents were my best friends, and I spent more time with my parents than I did probably like a clique or anything like that. And I had best friends and stuff like that. So healthy relationships, but just appreciated my parents being the youngest in my family. And I was 4 years under my next sibling, 5, 6, and 7. And that's how it went. So I tagged along my dad. My dad ran the boys club, and then eventually he evolved into a truant officer for the high school union district in San Mateo. So worked for several schools as a truant officer, catching people cutting. Why are you not able to get to school? Problem solving. So that's why it just molds me into being who I am. My mom was similar to that. just complemented my dad really well. And thankfully, I just caught all of that. And, you know, of course, they were the way that they were with all of us kids, very strong and stern, but also explained why, and very thorough in that process. And because we had all of the different age groups of you know, ages and such too, I was exposed to a lot of different situations, how they would handle it, why they handle it the way that they do, just all of that. So it's like, I have all of that, whether I realized it or not. Having them be gone, it's almost like it's like having them here, because their lessons come back on a daily basis. I actually physically almost even hear my dad's voice in some of these, you know, Al, I'm sure I see you totally reacting, and I think you're relating, because true, it becomes a dance, and they really are who we are, and they're in us, and they're all around us. And so I really am becoming my mother and my father. When I can't not say something, it's not because of the Nikki in me. It's not because of the Nicole in me. It's because my mom, you know, it's because my dad. It's like, oh, you better say something, because this is going to make a difference in not just your life, but not even your life. It's actually going to make it really difficult for you, but it's going to help 28 other people. Yeah. So, you know, so it's just, yes, we become our parents because of exactly who they are when we're growing up. It resonates that deep sometimes, if we let it. And
no, but you're so right about that, Nicole. You know, we do become like our parents, believe it or not. You know, some of us have phenomenal experiences with our parents, and some of us unfortunately do not, you know, but we still carry something. The DNA in our parents. You know, for me, like Al was telling the group, it's my work ethics. You know, my father, you know, working, my mother nonstop. I remember my mother, after my parents' divorce, mother having 3 jobs, you know, working the school district, selling door to door, you know, comforters, you know, back in the early 80s, and then working at Subway, you know, part-time. So it was like I would never see my mother, but I believe that's the core of why I don't stop. You know, I just continue. To me, this is not work. I don't see this as work. This is, to me, fun. Even though we're dealing with some challenging times, you know, and I did not anticipate, you know, as a team leader to be involved in the chaos of the pandemic, the rioting that we had, you know, a month ago, and all that, you know, some of the real estate companies are facing. You know, I'll give you a prime example. If you guys know Century 21, Amber on Crenshaw, they're hurting tremendously that they merged with Century 21 Union, you know, because they're financially in a position, you know, and I don't know if it had to do with the pandemic, but I wanna say, yeah, it's probably because of that. You know, we were able to survive, and we'll continue surviving, you know, and I'm grateful to all of you and my entire staff and my entire agents that regardless of what we were faced with, we were still able to adapt and modify and go with it. You know, immediately, KW International, Gary Keller stepped up, and we got to shift, tighten down, and do what we have to do to continue progressing. And then when the state of California went on a complete shutdown, you know, where we were forced to stay home, guys, and now remotely work at home and continue to do our business. It's just crazy. But one way or the other, you know, we continue moving forward. We continue progressing. I know it's been frustrating for me. I would never show it, but I'll tell you, I didn't stop. I was coming to the office every single day, and I have not stopped through all this. I was here alone. There was times that I was here by myself, I had the entire office. I was in the conference room, having Zoom calls, picking up the phone, making eye care calls to our agents, dealing with some, files, and still doing recruiting. So,
and those could be the best times.
absolutely. I can reflect, and I can go back and say, you know what, if I was able to get through some of the tough times, nothing can stop me or stop you guys. And that's the whole purpose of these mastermind meetings, is to really, connect in a deeper level to really, press and press the needle moving forward in our business. Because we collaborate with all of us in different ways. I, came from a different perspective in career that led me into real estate, and then into real estate, into management. The beauty is we have the capability, the mind, to do whatever we want. If you want to strive for anything you want to do, you have that capability. And I think that's what Mo Anderson shares, is that if you want to be a CEO of a large real estate organization as Keller Williams, you have that ability to do so, And again, I'm very grateful, and I humble myself every single day, and I praise every day, for the opportunities and the doors that were open for me to continue doing what I need to do. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's been a challenge, but it's been fun. So anyone else?
Have fun with it. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, Nicole. Absolutely.
Let me mention something that I got on page 46. She has a passage there that says, it's more about having the ability and passion to do something, and the confidence to do it well. She did have a great education, and the titles, the degrees help, and she never had it so easy, and it took a lifetime to accomplish a lot of what she did. So it does take a lifetime in the end. And she developed the confidence by having the education, and she always had the passion, developed the ability. So that's all part of it. Next week, hopefully, I'm going to try to review a webinar that I was in yesterday. And it mentions 3 things that California has, and very few other states have. He mentioned particularly Arizona, that, everybody would go there, companies and so forth, but only California has. So I like to bring in the technical terms they use, but it's true about California. The other thing is that there was a group of people who work from home, and after a while, it was a volunteer thing to work from home. And a lot of those people eventually wanted to come back into the office environment with other people. They had the choice to stay home and produce a lot still, but they had the choice to come back and be together with other people. I'm looking forward to that, seeing everyone in person. I'll bring some of those statistics. I'll do it quickly, but I need to review and write down details and pass it on. Very interesting. It was, I think by CBRE, I think it's the largest commercial real estate in the country.
Right.
They have these experts talking with everybody that has jurisdiction on commercial anything. I'll bring those. I'll make it brief. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate that. Now, I think all of us probably had more fails than successes. I know for me, that's been the case throughout my entire adult years. I think I've had more fails than successes. If it wasn't for the injury involved in my law enforcement career, I probably wouldn't be here in front of you guys. I probably would have retired as a LA County deputy, either in a ranking position, such as I've always wanted to be a homicide detective, but I also wanted to be a lieutenant. Not necessarily a captain, but I wanted to strive to be at least, because a lieutenant is somewhat like a a manager, basically. You know, the captain is like the CEO of an office. And I think I have the qualities to, you know, run a successful office. But that was really my goal, is to retire as a peace officer and do law enforcement and real estate. But, you know, life changes, you know, unexpected circumstances happen to us that alter our position. I reflect and I look back. I have no regrets whatsoever. I think about it all this time, and, you know, I will think about it till the day I die. You know, I said one time, and I was talking to my mother, I said, you know, Mom, if something happens to me, you know, make sure you bury me with my uniform. She goes, well, that's not going to happen in my lifetime, because I'm going to pass before you, son. I said, you know how life works, but if anything happens, you know, bury me with because I still have plenty of uniforms and gear and all the good stuff that the department provided. But, you know, it's like, do I really, and the reason I say that is because two components. You know, I've always said, just cremate me. You know, I don't want to be buried. But then, you know, something in the back of my mind, you know, thinks about, you know, the afterlife, because we're all unfortunately going in that direction. You know, I see myself now, and I reflect 20 years ago when I used to have jet black hair, and now it's like, no more. I got gray hairs now. You know, but there's, you know, life alterations for all of us. You know, I've mentioned to you, you know, I've had more fails than success, you know, but I don't stop. I pick myself, I dust myself off, and I continue moving forward. You know, that's the only way you're going to progress, you know, because if you become a victim of it, then you'll never succeed in anything, is my opinion. And again, this is why I continue doing what I love to do, is, you know, give and be more of a giver than a receiver, in helping agents grow their business through many platforms, you know, from mentorship to one-on-ones, navigating to help them close the deals, you know. And I think all of us have a quality of leadership, you know, to give back, you know, from volunteering. You know, I know Rosie volunteers a lot of her time, you know, through her Rotary membership. And, you know, a lot of us too, you know, Al, and I know Lee, you too, you know, you do a lot. So, yeah, I mean, that's my takeaway too as well.
Just something quickly about the burial and when we pass away. If somebody were to ask me how I wanted to be buried, I would say, surprise me. I don't want to say the one thing I do know, and I'm going to put it in writing, no funeral for me, no drama, nothing. I went to get bread and didn't come back. I mean it. I'm going to put it in writing. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So, all right, let's continue. Al, I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. It's all good. It's all good. And just like she said in the book, she said, we have to appreciate the hard times. And those are sometimes the fondest memories and the strongest memories we have, especially if we don't give up. And that kind of brings us to the second or fourth chapter. Never, never, never give up. So when you give up is when you basically die. So let's see, on the end of the chapter 3, she had mentioned, do you know your own history? Try and record your earliest memories. Remember that your foundation makes you who you are. And some of the most successful people had always the most difficult or hardest upbringings. And it's those failures, but their relentless pursuit of success, they just never give up. They keep getting back up and keep getting stronger. And And I think that's an important lesson. Some of the foundational values, I kind of equated it to our, Keller Williams has the WI4C2TS. It's like a win-win, I have them written down. Win-win or no deal. Integrity, do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment in all things. Communication, which means seek first to understand. Creativity, so you have ideas before the results. And teamwork. Together, everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty, and success, it's results through people. So kind of like what Lee was saying with the CBRE study, sure, we can work alone, and it's great for a little while, but I think to punch through and have the support of other teammates and workers, co-workers, together we always achieve more, and with the help and support of others.
One quick thing about that, I've always negotiated until the other agent dies or I die. I mean, I negotiate a lot. But one thing is very important to do right at the beginning, we need to break the ice with the other agent and then get full cooperation and you reciprocate. And that's how deals are made, because I notice it's different people, agents, we're going to cancel. And it just mean, no, let's find out what will make the deal. And no, we're going to cancel. We go to the next one. It's too easy to do that. When you did all the legwork already, so negotiate until you find the solution to a transaction. But the key is to very much break the ice right at the beginning. I'm not the best in doing that unless I think of it consciously to do it. Then I do it and it works better. You become familiar with the other person's family and so forth, and even their pets and all of that. I'm terrible at doing that. But when you do it, it's a personal thing, and then you get the help that you need from the other side. And a lot of times, well, the technical, of course, has to be in writing. But the first phone conversation is the lead to put everything in writing that you need, and you get hopefully a response that's properly arranged in writing, and then you're going somewhere. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Lee. One thing that I like to add, I was listening to a podcast, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger. You guys all know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right?
Yeah.
And
I'll be back.
I'll be back. Yeah. He was saying that many people think he's a self-made man. And he kept reflecting and kept saying, you know, many people think I'm a self-made man or a self-made millionaire, basically, you know, that he was able to build this an empire through, you know, his workouts, you know, from becoming an Olympian in the bodybuilding arena and transitioning into a phenomenal movie actor, you know, such as the Terminator series and some of the other ones like Commando, Predator, and all these, Conan the Barbarian. And he was able to build this magnificent, you know, statue that people claim he's self-made. To the governor of California. I don't know if you guys remember in the early 2000s, he was our governor of the state of California. And this is a man from Austria, wasn't born in the US, had a dream to come to the US because he wanted to become the best of the best in bodybuilding in the 70s, and then ultimately transition into the motion pictures. Then the governor, and you know, he gives so much back to the communities, you know. But he was saying, and why I would like to share this is, he says, you know what, I'm not a self-made millionaire or self-made man. It took many people to give me the opportunities. I didn't do it all by myself. It was through times during, you know, the bodybuilding that I didn't even have food in my kitchen or in my refrigerator, and my bodybuilding buddies were the ones that would come and give me food. The opportunities to work out at the gym, I didn't even have money to pay for a monthly membership. But the owner of the gym saw the potential and gave me the opportunity to work out there anytime I wanted to. And I humbled myself, he said, and I was so grateful for the opportunity that I took it and build who you guys know. But I didn't do it all by myself. I had a village of people that helped me get to the level where I'm at. So the question here is the same for me. I cannot say it was all about me. It took, opportunities that people believed in me. People saw the ability and gave me the opportunity. And I'm very grateful for all the connections that I've had since now and all the connections in the future, because opportunities will come, okay? You might be the best at what you do, but there's people that are better than us. And I'm just a true believer that it takes a village to make, it's like, it's like my ex-wife used to say, yeah, you're pretty good, but you got a strong woman behind you that has really helped you. And I have to admit, it is so true. She was my core and the foundation who I was able to be. And she really would knock some sense in me sometimes. And I would jokingly say, it's about me. It's no, it's not always about you. So that was one of the takeaways that I got. And, what Lee was saying and Al was saying is, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, a self-made millionaire, not necessarily was self-made. He had people that gave him opportunities and doors opening for him to get to the level where he's at. And I think we can also coincide with us. We build connections on a daily basis from a buyer, from a seller, from investors, giving us the opportunity. And we need these opportunities to continue progressing and closing more deals. Because if a seller doesn't give you an opportunity, a buyer doesn't give you an opportunity, an investor doesn't give you an opportunity, then it's going to be very challenging for you to really make it in real estate. So, and I think all of us on this call, knows that opportunities are given to us on a daily basis, but you've got to go out there and find it. You got to go out there and ask for it, but ultimately you got to earn it. And this is through, progression, discipline, consistency, and, striving for excellence. Every day should be a striving for excellence. We may fall short, and this is the reason we all set goals and expectations, right? Every year, even though, 2020 was supposed to be, a phenomenal year, we have our beliefs in December as we close the chapter of 2019 and look into the first month of January of 2020, our goals, our expectations, and then all of a sudden, all these problems started happening, and it started, with Kobe Bryant, passing away this year, people passing away from the coronavirus, and then everything, the shutdown. I mean, there's so many variables that has happened this year. I know a lot of people are like, I am done with 2020. I can't wait to 2021. But reality is we still have 6 more months left in the year. Today is July 1st. It shouldn't stop you, shouldn't deter you. We have to do U-turns or, go in a different pattern, but you stay focused on your business, whatever your goals were in the beginning, that should not change. We just got to change the way we do business. And that's really what I see a lot of agents do, it's just changing to what the circumstances we're dealing with right now. So.
Okay, well, somebody else takes their turn. I have to say that it's just cute. It's strictly a joke. Please understand it as a joke. Behind every very successful man, there is a
Successful woman, of
Most
course.
successful woman.
A very surprised woman.
Vice versa. Or vice versa.
No, well, yeah, it could be, but it's
Okay.
behind every successful man, there is a very surprised woman.
Oh, that's how it goes.
Well,
I'm telling you, yes.
okay.
That's pretty funny, Lee. So, all right, let's, we got about 10 more minutes left on this. So, anything else, Al?
Yeah, on chapter 4, the big thing here is dream big, have a dream. She focused on it. She visualized this. I think we all have visual boards, things like that.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes on it. What you focus on does expand. So she always focused on, even though it was a hardship, there's always a positive spin on it or a solution to it. And that's what I really enjoyed about her outlook on life. It's always been like that. And you can see that in her. Like Simon said, when he first saw her, it was a mob of people. It was like a glow, like some kind of energy was coming into this room. It's her attitude towards life. A couple of the big takeaways on this chapter is if you're not open to opportunities or if you have no vision, people perish. You close yourself off. You close yourself away from people and opportunities. So we have to be open to it. And when we're open, our eyes are open and more opportunities appear. That was my takeaway as well. She said, people who don't have a dream, they have no hope, they have no vision, they have no purpose, and they're dying slowly. People live lives of a quiet desperation, and some even just stop dreaming. And those are the ones are the saddest, she says, because they give up on life. If we don't have a drive or motivation, then meditation or you ask God to put it inside you. That's why the silence part of our daily ritual in savers is important. We have to get grounded, get outside, breathe some fresh air, go for a walk, get away. Like Simon's gonna go to Vegas, just check out and check back in. And that might re-inspire yourself. The other thing she did mention is you're never too old. You're never too late to dream. Never give up. Dreams never end. And she was, what, 73 when she bought her dream home? And she's continuing to dream. I mean, it's amazing. So life doesn't end until you decide to, in your mind. So just keep going. The dad instilled in her to dream and work hard, and you can see she is a hard worker. Even at her age, I don't know how she does it. I guess it's all mental. And believe in the power of dreams. That was the takeaways I got out of the chapter 4. Was wondering if anybody else had any other takeaways?
I think part of what she's talking about is being able to contribute further to her family and her industry and her kids. She's got everything she wants now, so why keep going the way she's going? It's contributing to every aspect of it.
I don't think she'll stop. I think she's going to continue, pushing. It's just, again, going back to how you see it, because I've heard people, oh, I can't wait to retire. I can't wait to slow down, and there's people that way, I hate to say that, but there's people that way. The beauty of our industry is you can do this for the rest of your life, because you're self-made in your own beliefs and perspective, meaning that you have the ability to, do this business for the rest of your life, and that's the core of it. You got the golden license, that allows you in the state of California, the ability to help so many people with their dreams of home ownership. I get excited. It's a fun career for me, and what's so funny is the agents that get so intensely stressed over a transaction. For me, it's just a walk in the park. You know, I love it because I can hold that composure. When Simon gets nervous, then yeah, maybe you should get a little nervous too. But Simon doesn't get nervous, we're going to be okay. You know, I've seen it all. I've been through all. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's very intense because I understand the livelihood of getting this deal closed and getting paid a commission and getting entangled in a complaint and a lawsuit, you know. But at the end of the day, one thing that I can tell you from my personal view and my standpoint and, you know, my years of doing this is, you know, I'm here for each and every one of you, okay? And that's the entire office. You know, there's not one call I won't pick up. There's not one email that I will not respond. There's not one text that I will not address. You know, for me is the core. I'm the customer service for my agents. And, you know, title or no title, you know, I'll still be Simon. You know, the title doesn't mean anything to me. For me is the core of helping, you know, each and every agent succeed and take their business to the next level. And I have a passionate, you know, even on the weekends too, you know, I continue working on the weekends, you know, and doing what I need to do. So I love this. And I wanted to quickly just, I don't know if you guys remember that I said about Mo Anderson and what, you know, and Al was the one that just mentioned it to me. So I'm gonna show you something. I hope you can see that.
Oh, you got it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my God.
That's
Nice.
Nice
awesome.
picture.
I wasn't lying, guys. I told you. There it is. Okay.
Oh,
Great
that's
picture.
awesome.
That's the picture right there with Mo Anderson. And like I said, she had a posse of security around her. And I was minding my own business. I did see, you know, a group of people and people were taking photos. You know, I don't know, you know, at the time I didn't know who it was, but as she was coming closer, we had that instant eye contact and she gravitated to me. And there you go. I mean, the photo is there. So, you know, I'm blessed to be in such a phenomenal organization as Keller Williams. I'm blessed to have you all as part of my team. And, you know, let's just continue pressing hard, guys. You know, we're still halfway point right now. It's third quarter of the year. You know, this is when it's the hottest right now in the summer. You know, let's not stop. So, any final thoughts, guys, on the 2 chapters?
My takeaway, okay, my takeaway is that Mo Anderson is a role model for many of us. And I like her background and her upbringing and what she did with that upbringing to be who she is today. So this is one of my takeaway. And the other one is like never stop learning. And 2 days ago, I think I saw something on Facebook where someone was 97 years old and she was graduating from college and that was her dream.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw
think
that.
I saw that. So I was like,
Yeah.
wow. So those are my 2 takeaway from the 2 chapters.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rosie, for sharing. Anyone else?
Nothing else, do the right thing.
Absolutely. Very good. Well, Al, thank you again. You do such a phenomenal job. I'm going to elect you as the director of this book. But thank you again, Al. You're a phenomenal guy. I am so grateful to have you and the rest of you on this call. And let's continue. Just a couple announcements, guys, before we end. We have our sales meeting today at noon. I do have a guest speaker from the KW Concierge. You know, we've been getting a lot of questions regarding, so I brought the gal that's going to tell you exactly how the program works, how you can leverage yourself through the KW Concierge. and Navigator get more listings. So she'll be on the call this afternoon at our sales meeting. What else? Tomorrow, Thursday, we have a 4 o'clock Independence happy hour. We have wine here. If you guys like to take a bottle of wine, I think we have some beer. You do need to sign in to pick up a bottle of wine and just be on the 4 o'clock Zoom call tomorrow for, toast of Independence Day. And if you cannot make it to the office, you can still be part of it, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Okay. And then from there, I'm out. I'll be heading out to Vegas.
Nice.
Awesome, guys. All right.
Make sure that it stay in Las Vegas.
Yeah, right.
Whatever you do there, stay there. Right?
Stay in Vegas. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a young guy anymore, so there's not much I'm going to be doing that's crazy. All right, guys. So who wants to volunteer and spearhead next week's Wednesday class at which will be chapter 5 and 6? Anyone wants to volunteer?
I think Lee volunteered last week.
Yeah,
well, that was the previous book.
No, Lee said last week that he wanted to do chapter 5 and 6.
I'll do those because I have some notes from that other webinar I did. There.
Okay.
I'll do 5 and 6.
Okay,
Thank you,
you're on.
You're awesome. Thank you, Rosie, for putting them on the spot.
You won, Rosie.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a phenomenal day. Thank you guys for being on the call. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you at 12 o'clock, okay?
Happy 4th
Thank you,
of July.
Simon.
Okay.
Have a good
Thank you,
one. Thank
Patricia.
you.
Be safe. Be safe.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.